Hey, Nation Harry here, back with Frank Olhurst. Frank, I think this is the first time we've talked since the beginning of the year, and what a year I hope will be. So Happy New Year's. We can still say that.
Yep, we can still say that. And, so far it seems kind of happy, actually,
Yeah,
maybe things are on the upswing for a lot of people. I mean, we've still got the COVID challenges, of course, but,
yep.
we've got the vaccination rolling out, and we've got a lot of other things going on that might be good for the players in the channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about over on Security Boulevard, you just dropped a piece called Is MDR Cybersecurity Training an Oxymoron? We're talking managed detection and response. Go. What's the story?
Well, a lot of enterprises, especially the enterprises, turn to managed detection and response because they lack internally the cyber skills that are needed to properly protect those enterprises.
Okay.
So instead of trying to go out and train an internal security staff or get into a bidding war over talent, they turn to these service providers that provide this capability to detect not only breaches but malware of any type, and also automate the response behind it. And so it brings up a real good question. If you're an enterprise, a small, medium, or large enterprise that's using MDR,
Mhm.
do you really need cybersecurity training internally? Because, you're offloading that responsibility to someone else. From my point of view, it's actually a resounding yes,
Yeah.
because you have to be able to understand, to an extent, at least have some sort of internal expertise to be able to judge how well the MDR service is performing, and also to be able to validate, the vendor that's selling you MDR, be able to validate that they know what they're doing too. And this, becomes double fold for the channel. You got folks in the channel that are reselling MDR services. Either they're self-branding it, or they're coming up with their own, or they're, reselling something via a distributor. And, those players in the channel, as the avenue of providing MDR service, have to know what it's all about as well. Now,
Yeah.
I see a lot of growth for MDR out there because of the cyber skills shortage that's currently going on. And I see, our MSSPs and MSPs and other channel partners coming up to bat to be able to handle that.
Yeah. It's not for me. I have outside business interest in other verticals in my technology plays. I'm not a security guy, right? It's again, it's like healthcare. You got your specializations. I totally appreciate what the security gurus do, and I see the value and the importance of it. Hey, quickly, maybe you could name a couple of players in the game as you put together your article over here at Security Boulevard.
Well, part of the purpose of the article is to really focus on the educational aspect.
Okay.
And I spoke to the folks over at Range Force, who has built several different educational models around cybersecurity. And the most important thing I feel that they do is they create a playground, a sandbox, where you can
Ah,
go and experiment with attacks without putting your own infrastructure at risk, or, creating any type of danger to, your production systems. So, I'm looking at it from the point of view of that, the ability to have that playground, that real world simulation of how an attack works, gives you a better concept on how an MDR service should function. So I'm focusing this more on the idea of knowing what MDR is, as opposed to, recommending a particular vendor.
oh
This
yeah, yeah.
way, the way that either a channel partner or a consumer of the service can look at it is they can say that, all right, I have some experience here. I know what MDR should do for me. And, I've seen real world examples and played with real world examples of what what it means to have an MDR service so I can more intelligently select a service or decide to build my own or decide to bring, various other components together to create MDR. So it's not so much about the vendor, it's more about the underlying knowledge that is required to really be effective with MDR instead of just throwing your hands up and shifting the burden off to somebody else. And then you're the one who gets stung in the end, not them.
Yeah. Well, I'll end on this. This sounds a little more comprehensive. And I mean, I don't mean to offend the next two vendor names I'm going to name, but this is a little more comprehensive than Know Before and looking over at Stride Point, a new friend of the family. They're more, my understanding, they're more about don't click. Okay, that kind of education for the worker bees, don't click the link. This is a little more comprehensive. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, this is more comprehensive. And I think when it comes to, talking about, the SMB Nation folks, the channel players out there, this is about, educating them to increase their opportunities in the security business.
Yeah.
Without having to set up their own SOC or anything like that they can turn to MDR vendors, and then they have enough knowledge to be able to translate what MDR does to their clients to be able to demonstrate the value and then still play a role in it instead of giving up that opportunity to a third party.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, keep it safe. By the way, your daughter, I believe, is in healthcare. How's she doing? Is she hanging in there?
She's hanging in there. She's, she's actually gotten the inoculation for, the COVID. And so, she just got the second dose of that. She's been on the front lines since February. And luckily, she hasn't, gotten it. But we're actually just coming out of quarantine because another family member of mine caught COVID and we isolated her. And we had to quarantine and luckily we're doing good.
All right. Well, I'm doing the best I can, man. I upgraded to N95 and I'm taking it I made it a year, man. I made it a year. Let's not lose it now. Thanks, Frank. Thanks, Jenny.